What if I told you that a man once possessed the strength of an entire army, yet lost everything because of a single mistake? A man chosen by God before birth, destined for greatness, yet bound by his own weaknesses. His story is one of power, betrayal, and ultimate redemption, one that proves that even the strongest can fall, but can also rise again. This is the untold story of Samson, the mightiest warrior of Israel. Stay with me till the end, because this tale is unlike anything you have ever heard before. But before we dive into this incredible story, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more epic biblical stories. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Now, let's begin. In the land of Israel, during a time of great suffering, the Israelites groaned under the heavy hand of the Philistines. For 40 long years, they lived in oppression, their lands raided, their people subdued, and their freedom taken away. The Philistines, mighty in number and cruel in spirit, ruled over them with an iron grip. The people of Israel, though chosen by God, had turned away from him, and as a result, they faced the consequences of their disobedience. In the small town of Zorah, nestled in the hills of the tribe of Dan, lived a man named Manoah. He was a devout and righteous man, faithful to the God of Israel. Yet, despite his obedience and good heart, there was one sorrow that plagued him and his wife. They had no children. Manoah's wife was barren, and as the years passed, they had resigned themselves to a life without an heir. One day, as Manoah's wife went about her daily tasks, a radiant figure appeared before her. Dressed in garments that glowed like the sun, his face was unlike any she had ever seen, both terrifying and awe-inspiring. It was an angel of the Lord. She gasped and fell to her knees, for she knew this was no ordinary man. The angel spoke with a voice that was both gentle and powerful. "You are barren and have no children," he said, his words echoing through the air, "but you are going to conceive and give birth to a son." The woman's heart gladdens with joy. A child after all these years? Before she could speak, the angel continued, "Now, listen carefully. You must drink no wine or fermented drink, and you must not eat anything unclean. For the child you bear will be special. He will be a Nazirite, dedicated to God from the womb. No razor shall touch his head, for he will be set apart for the Lord, and he will begin to deliver Israel from the hands of the Philistines." Tears welled in the woman's eyes as she clutched her chest, overwhelmed by the angel's words. A son, a deliverer for Israel. The moment the angel disappeared, she ran with all her might to find her husband. Breathless, she burst into their home. "A man of God came to me," she exclaimed to Manoah. "His appearance was like an angel of the Lord, terrifying yet beautiful. He told me that we will have a son, a child dedicated to God who will save Israel from the Philistines." Manoah listened in astonishment. A son? Their son? He fell to his knees and prayed earnestly, "O Lord, let the man of God return to us and teach us how to raise the boy you have promised." And so, the journey of Samson, the mighty warrior chosen by God, was set in motion long before he was even born. Manoah could hardly believe what his wife had told him. A son. After years of waiting, years of watching other families grow while he and his wife remained childless. His heart swelled with hope, yet questions swirled in his mind. Who was this messenger? What kind of life would their child lead? How were they to raise him according to God's will? That night, as the stars shined in the heavens, Manoah knelt to pray. O Lord, if it pleases you, let the man of God whom you sent come again to teach us how to bring up the boy who is to be born. His voice was filled with both reverence and longing. He had heard of how the Lord had spoken to their ancestors, but now it seemed that God was speaking to his own family. Days passed, and though Manoah held fast to his faith, he wondered if God had heard his prayer. But then, one afternoon, as his wife was out in the fields, the angel of the Lord appeared to her once more. The same brilliant light surrounded him, and his presence filled the air with divine authority. Without hesitation, she ran back to the house, her heart filled with excitement. "Husband, the man who appeared to me before is here again," she called. Manoah, not wasting a moment, hurried after her, his feet kicking up dust as he ran. When he reached the spot where his wife had seen the man, he beheld the messenger standing there just as she had described. "Are you the man who spoke to my wife?" Manoah asked, his voice filled with both awe and curiosity. "I am," the angel replied. Manoah took a deep breath, steadying himself. "When your words come to pass, what shall be the rule for the boy's life? How are we to raise him?" The angel's gaze was steady. "Your wife must do all that I have told her. She must not eat anything that comes from the vine, nor drink wine or any fermented drink, nor eat anything unclean. She must observe all that I have commanded." Manoah nodded solemnly. This child, their son, was not just any boy. He was chosen, set apart. Then Manoah, filled with gratitude, said, "Please, let us prepare a young goat as an offering before you." The angel's face remained serene. "Even if you prepare a meal, I will not eat it. But if you present a burnt offering, offer it to the Lord." At that moment, Manoah realized the messenger was no mere prophet. He was from God, a holy messenger of the Most High. And so, with reverence and fear, Manoah prepared an offering to God. Manoah's hands trembled slightly as he prepared the offering, his heart filled with both awe and reverence. This was no ordinary visitor. He knew now that the man before him was sent by God himself. He carefully arranged the wood and placed the young goat upon the rock, creating an altar before the Lord. His wife stood close by, her eyes wide with wonder, her hands clasped together in anticipation. The air around them felt thick with something unseen, something divine. Lifting his gaze to the angel, Manoah said, "What is your name, so that we may honor you when your words come to pass?" The angel's expression remained serene, his eyes deep and knowing. "Why do you ask my name? It is beyond understanding." Manoah's breath caught in his throat. The words sent a chill through him. This was not merely a man of God. This was a heavenly being, one whose very name was too great for human comprehension. Determined to do as he had said, Manoah took the offering and set it ablaze. The flames crackled, leaping higher, and as they did, something incredible happened. The angel of the Lord stepped into the fire. A radiant light surrounded him, and in an instant he ascended toward heaven in the flames. The fire carried him upward, his form engulfed in divine brilliance, until he was gone. Manoah and his wife fell to the ground, their faces pressed against the earth. Their bodies shook with holy fear. They had just witnessed the power of God in a way few had ever seen. Manoah's voice was barely a whisper. "We have seen God. We will surely die," terror gripping him. Had they looked upon the face of the Almighty through his messenger? Was this the end? His wife, still trembling but filled with faith, reached for his hand. "If the Lord had meant to kill us, he would not have accepted our offering," she said gently. "He would not have shown us these wonders or told us of what is to come." Her words calmed Manoah, though the awe of what they had witnessed remained heavy upon them. The angel's message was clear. Their child was chosen. He was set apart by God before he was even born. Days turned into weeks, and in time, the prophecy was fulfilled. Manoah's wife gave birth to a son. They named him Samson, just as the Lord had ordained. As the boy grew, it became evident that the Spirit of the Lord was with him. Strength beyond measure coursed through his veins, and the destiny of Israel rested upon his shoulders. But with great strength came great trials, and Samson's journey was only just beginning. Years passed, and Samson grew into a strong and mighty man. The Spirit of the Lord stirred within him, granting him a power unlike any other. His strength was beyond human limits, and his presence commanded attention wherever he went. But Samson was not only strong in body, he was also strong-willed, often led by his own desires. One day, he journeyed to Timnah, a Philistine town, and there his eyes fell upon a young woman. She was beautiful, unlike any he had seen before, and his heart burned with desire for her. He returned home and told his parents, "I have seen a woman in Timnah, a daughter of the Philistines. Get her for me as my wife." His parents were troubled. "Is there no woman among your own people, among the daughters of your brethren, that you must go to the uncircumcised Philistines?" His father Manoah questioned. "Surely the Lord would have you marry from among Israel." But Samson was determined. "Get her for me, for she pleases me well," he insisted. His parents did not know that this desire was part of the Lord's plan, for through this, Samson would begin to confront the Philistines, Israel's oppressors. And so, they journeyed with him to Timnah to arrange the marriage. As Samson traveled through the vineyards of Timnah, something unexpected happened. A young lion suddenly sprang from the thickets, roaring and charging straight at him. Most men would have fled in terror, but the Spirit of the Lord came upon Samson with great power. Without a weapon in his hand, he seized the beast, his muscles surging with divine strength. The lion clawed and roared, but Samson overpowered it, tearing it apart as easily as one might tear a young goat. The ground was stained with the lion's blood. Its body lay limp, defeated. Breathing heavily, Samson wiped his hands, marveling at what had just occurred. He had never known strength like this before, but he told no one, not even his parents, of what had happened. Days later, as he passed that same place again, curiosity drew him back to the carcass. What he saw astonished him. A swarm of bees had made their home inside the lion's body, and there was honey within its bones. Reaching in, he scooped some of the golden honey and ate it. Its sweetness filled his mouth, and he took more to his parents, though he did not tell them from where it came. Later, at his wedding feast, surrounded by Philistine men, Samson devised a riddle. He said to them, "Let me pose a riddle to you. If you can solve it within 7 days, I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 sets of clothes. But if you cannot, then you must give me the same." The men, intrigued, agreed. Samson smiled and said, "Out of the eater came something to eat. and out of the strong came something sweet. The Philistines pondered his words, but they did not yet know that the answer lay within the body of a slain lion. For 3 days, the Philistine men puzzled over Samson's riddle, whispering among themselves, trying to decipher its meaning. But no matter how much they debated, the answer eluded them. The wager weighed heavily upon them. 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothes were no small price to pay. Frustrated and growing desperate, they turned to Samson's new wife, the Philistine woman from Timnah. They seized her arms, their voices low and threatening. "Coax your husband into telling you the answer," they demanded, "or we will burn you and your father's house with fire. Did you bring us here to make us poor?" Terror filled the woman's heart. She knew the Philistines were merciless. They would not hesitate to carry out their threat. So, when she next saw Samson, she clung to him, her eyes brimming with tears. "You do not love me," she sobbed. "You have given my people a riddle, but you have not told me the answer." Samson looked at her with a sigh. "I have not even told my father or mother. Why should I tell you?" But she was relentless. Day after day she wept before him, pressing him, pleading with him. Her sorrowful eyes never left his, and her words were a constant storm in his ears. The strong man, who could tear a lion apart, found himself weakened by the persistence of a woman's tears. At last, on the 7th day, weary of her crying, Samson relented. He leaned in and whispered the secret to her. "The answer is honey from the lion." The woman hurried away, and before the sun had set, the Philistine men came to Samson, smirking with confidence. "What is sweeter than honey?" they said with mocking smiles. "And what is stronger than a lion?" Samson's eyes narrowed, his jaw clenched. He knew at once what had happened. He turned his gaze toward his wife, who avoided his eyes, her hands trembling at her sides. Betrayal cut through him like a sharpened blade. With a voice filled with fury, he spat, "If you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have solved my riddle." Burning with anger, Samson left the feast at once. He stormed down to Ashkelon, another Philistine city. There, the Spirit of the Lord came upon him mightily, and he struck down 30 Philistine men, stripping them of their garments. He returned to Timnah and threw the clothes at the feet of the men who had solved his riddle. "There is your prize," he growled, but his heart was filled with rage and pain. Without another word, Samson turned away. He did not stay with his wife, but instead returned to his father's house. His wife, left abandoned, was given in marriage to another man, Samson's own companion. Thus began the enmity between Samson and the Philistines, and the wrath of Israel's strongest judge had only just begun. Days turned into weeks, but Samson's anger did not subside. The betrayal of his wife and the treachery of the Philistines burned within him like an unquenchable fire. He had left Timnah behind, but the wound in his heart remained fresh. One day, as the wheat harvest approached, Samson decided to return. He took with him a young goat as a gift and made his way to his father-in-law's house. He had calmed his fury and longed to see his wife again. But when he arrived, he was met with unexpected news. Her father stood before him, shifting uncomfortably. "I thought you hated her," he said cautiously, "so I gave her to your companion. But," he added quickly, seeing the fire in Samson's eyes, "her younger sister is more beautiful than she. Take her instead." Samson's heart filled with pain and betrayal. His own wife, given to another man." He clenched his fists, and his breath came in short, furious bursts. "This time I will be blameless when I bring harm upon the Philistines," he declared. With that, he stormed away, but not in blind rage. Samson went into the fields and caught 300 foxes. He worked tirelessly, tying them together in pairs, tail to tail. Between each pair, he fastened a burning torch. Then, with one mighty motion, he released them into the wheat fields of the Philistines. The fire spread swiftly. The dry grain, the olive groves, and the vineyards all erupted into flames. Smoke filled the air as the Philistines ran, shouting in horror. The golden fields, once ripe for harvest, turned black with ashes. When the Philistines saw the devastation, they demanded, "Who has done this?" "It was Samson," came the answer, "because his wife was given to another man." Their faces filled with anger. If Samson had taken his revenge, they too would have theirs. In their fury, they went to the house of Samson's wife and set it ablaze, killing her and her father in the flames. When Samson heard of it, his heart ached, but his wrath only grew stronger. He clenched his jaw and declared, "Since you have done this, I will not rest until I have taken vengeance upon you." And so he struck the Philistines with a mighty slaughter. His strength was like that of a lion, his hands like weapons of war. No man could stand against him. He tore through their ranks, leaving destruction in his wake. When his fury was spent, he withdrew and went to dwell in the cleft of the rock at Etam. There, alone in the wilderness, he waited. But the Philistines would not allow Samson's actions to go unpunished. After the destruction of their crops and the slaughter of their men, they gathered their armies and marched toward Judah, seeking revenge. The men of Judah, seeing the great Philistine army approaching, were filled with fear. The Philistines camped in Lehi, their weapons gleaming under the sun. The leaders of Judah went out to meet them, their voices trembling. "Why have you come against us?" they asked. The Philistine commander stepped forward. "We have come to capture Samson," he declared. "He has done us great harm, and we will not rest until we have him in our hands." Hearing this, the men of Judah trembled even more. They knew Samson's strength, but they also feared the might of the Philistines. Rather than risk war, they chose to deliver Samson into their enemies' hands. 3,000 men of Judah set out to find him. They climbed the rocky hills of Etam, where Samson had been hiding. When they found him, they pleaded with him. "Do you not know that the Philistines rule over us?" they asked. "What have you done to us?" Samson's eyes burned with defiance. "As they did to me, so I have done to them," he answered. The men of Judah exchanged uneasy glances. "We have come to bind you and hand you over to them," they admitted. "If we do not, they will destroy us." Samson studied their faces. He saw their fear, but he did not hate them for their weakness. Instead, he made them promise, "Swear to me that you will not kill me yourselves." They nodded eagerly. "We will only bind you and deliver you to them. We will not harm you." And so they bound him with 2 strong ropes and led him down to Lehi, where the Philistines waited. As soon as the Philistines saw him, they shouted in triumph. Their voices rose in a great roar, for they believed Samson was finally defeated. But in that moment, the Spirit of the Lord came upon Samson mightily. The ropes that bound him became as flax burned in fire. They fell away from his arms as though they were nothing. His eyes darted around, searching for a weapon, but there was none. Then he spotted a fresh jawbone of a donkey lying on the ground. He seized it in his hand, and with it he struck down 1,000 Philistine warriors. The ground was littered with their bodies when Samson finally stopped. Breathing heavily, he lifted the jawbone and declared, "With the jawbone of a donkey, heaps upon heaps, with the jawbone of a donkey, I have slain 1,000 men." Then, weary from battle, he cast the jawbone aside and called out to God, "O Lord, you have given this great victory by my hand. Must I now die of thirst and fall into the hands of the uncircumcised?" And God heard him. He split open a hollow place in Lehi, and water gushed forth. Then Samson drank, his strength returned, and he was revived. And thus he judged Israel for 20 years under Philistine rule. Samson's fame spread throughout the land. His victories against the Philistines made him a legend, yet his heart was often drawn toward temptation. Though a mighty warrior of God, he struggled with his desires. One day, Samson traveled to Gaza, a stronghold of the Philistines. The city was well guarded, its walls thick and its gates strong. But Samson walked boldly into the enemy territory without fear. There he saw a woman, a harlot, and his heart was enticed. He went into her house, and word quickly spread among the Philistines, "Samson is here." The Philistine leaders saw this as an opportunity to capture him. They set an ambush, gathering their strongest men. They sealed the city gates and stationed guards throughout the streets. "He will not escape," they whispered among themselves. "At dawn, we will seize him and put an end to his strength." Night fell, and Samson lay in the woman's house. But he was not unaware of the danger surrounding him. Before the morning came, while it was still deep in the night, he rose from his rest. He stepped outside, his keen eyes scanning the silent streets. The Philistine warriors were waiting, concealed in the shadows, thinking he would wait until morning to leave. But Samson did not wait. Instead, he walked straight to the city gate. It was locked, barred shut to keep him inside. The guards stationed there were drowsy, unaware of what was about to happen. Samson reached out, grasping the massive doors with his hands. He planted his feet firmly, and with a mighty heave, he tore the gates from their hinges. The sound of splintering wood and rending metal shattered the silence of the night. The Philistines awoke in shock. They watched in disbelief as Samson lifted the enormous gates, doors, bars, and all onto his shoulders. Their strongest warriors would have struggled to move them an inch, yet Samson carried them as if they were nothing. Then, without hesitation, he walked. He did not merely toss the gates aside or break them. He carried them up a hill far from Gaza to the heights of Hebron. The Philistines could only watch as their mighty gates disappeared into the distance. Their city was left defenseless, its strength humiliated before the power of one man. But Samson did not realize that his greatest enemy was not the Philistines, it was his own weakness. The desires of his heart would soon lead him into even greater danger, into the arms of a woman who would become his downfall. For in the valley of Sorek, a name was whispered in the courts of the Philistines, Delilah. And with her, the seeds of Samson's ruin had been sown. Not long after his escape from Gaza, Samson found himself wandering through the valley of Sorek. There, he met a woman named Delilah, whose beauty was as captivating as the night sky. She was charming, graceful, and cunning, a woman unlike any he had ever met. Samson's heart was drawn to her, and he soon fell deeply in love. But Delilah was not just any woman. She was a Philistine, and though she welcomed Samson into her arms, her heart belonged to her people. The Philistine rulers saw this as their golden opportunity. They came to Delilah in secret, offering her an immense sum of silver. "Seduce him," they urged. "Find out the secret of his great strength so that we may overpower him, bind him, and bring him low. Each of us will give you 1,100 pieces of silver." The promise of wealth and power was too tempting for Delilah to resist. That night, as Samson lay beside her, she whispered softly, her voice like honey. "Tell me, my love," she cooed, tracing her fingers along his arm. "What is the secret of your strength? How could someone bind you so that you may be subdued?" Samson chuckled, seeing no harm in her question. "If they bind me with 7 fresh bowstrings that have never been dried, I will become as weak as any other man." Delilah smiled sweetly, but in her heart she knew he was lying. Still, she sent word to the Philistine rulers, who brought her the bowstrings. That night, while Samson slept, she bound him with them. Then she called out, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you!" Samson awoke, and with a mere flex of his arms, the bowstring snapped like threads. The Philistines, who had been hiding, fled in terror. Delilah pouted and turned to him again, her voice laced with disappointment. "You have mocked me," she said, pressing her body closer to his. "You lied to me. Tell me truly how you may be bound." Samson, enjoying the game, gave her another false answer. "If they bind me with new ropes, ones that have never been used, I will be as weak as any man." Again, Delilah tried, and again, Samson broke free. But Delilah was relentless. Night after night, she pleaded with him, nagging and weeping. "How can you say you love me," she cried, "when you keep secrets from me?" Samson, weary of her constant pleading, felt his resolve weaken. He did not know that Delilah's persistence was not love, it was betrayal in disguise. For days, Delilah tormented Samson with her pleas. Morning and night, she clung to him, her voice filled with sorrow, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "How can you say you love me when you keep your heart from me?" she whispered. "If you truly love me, tell me the secret of your strength." Samson, though mighty in body, was weak in spirit when it came to Delilah's touch. Her words became a heavy burden upon his soul, and at last he could bear it no longer. With a sigh, he pulled her close and spoke in a voice barely above a whisper. "No razor has ever touched my head," he confessed. "I am a Nazirite, set apart for God from my mother's womb. If my hair is cut, my strength will leave me, and I will become as weak as any other man." Delilah felt a thrill of victory surge through her veins. At last, she had uncovered the truth. She held Samson close, running her fingers through his thick locks, feigning affection while already planning his downfall. That night, she sent word to the Philistine rulers, saying, "Come at once. This time, he has told me everything." They came swiftly, bringing with them silver, ready to pay Delilah her reward. When Samson lay asleep in her lap, Delilah motioned for a servant to enter. With quiet precision, they took a razor and cut the 7 locks of Samson's hair. As the strands fell to the ground, so did his strength. Delilah stroked his face gently, then called out, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." He awoke, dazed and confused. He rose to his feet, expecting his strength to return, but something was different. His muscles felt weak, his limbs heavy. He staggered, and in that moment he knew his power was gone. The Philistine warriors rushed in, seizing him before he could resist. He struggled, but his efforts were in vain. They bound him with bronze shackles, and to ensure he would never be a threat again, they drove out his eyes with cruel hands. Blinded and broken, Samson was dragged away, his cries swallowed by the laughter of his enemies. They led him to Gaza, where he was cast into prison. There he was forced to grind grain, a task meant for slaves and beasts of burden. The mighty judge of Israel, who once struck down 1,000 men with the jawbone of a donkey, was now reduced to a blind prisoner, mocked and humiliated. But the Philistines did not notice one thing. Though Samson's strength was gone, his hair, the symbol of his consecration, had begun to grow once more, and though he was blind, he still had faith. The Philistines were jubilant. Their greatest enemy, the mighty Samson, was now blind, shackled, and reduced to a mere grinder of grain. To them, it was a victory worth celebrating, a moment that deserved a feast in honor of their God, Dagon. Word spread throughout the land, and soon the rulers of the Philistines gathered in their grand temple in Gaza. The structure was vast, upheld by mighty pillars, filled with thousands of Philistine lords and citizens who had come to witness the ultimate humiliation of the once mighty judge of Israel. "Bring out Samson," they cried. "Let him entertain us." The guards seized Samson from his cell and led him into the temple, shoving him forward as the crowd erupted in laughter. "Where is your strength now, O great warrior?" they mocked. Samson, blinded and weak, stood in the midst of their jeering. But as the noise of the revelers filled the air, he felt something stir within him, not the strength of his arms, but the fire of his soul. He turned his face upward, though he could not see, and whispered a prayer. "O Lord God, remember me. Strengthen me just once more, that I may take vengeance upon these Philistines for my 2 eyes." He turned to the servant who had led him in and spoke softly, "Place my hands upon the pillars that support the temple, so I may lean against them." The young servant obeyed, thinking nothing of the request. Samson stretched out his hands, feeling the smooth stone of the 2 central pillars. He gripped them, his fingers tracing their width. The celebration continued, the laughter of the Philistines echoing through the temple. They had no idea that Samson's prayer had reached the heavens. Then, with a deep breath, Samson planted his feet firmly and called out with his final plea, "Let me die with the Philistines." He pushed with all his might. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the stone groaned. Cracks formed along the pillars. The ceiling above trembled. Gasps and screams replaced the mocking laughter. With one last surge of divine strength, Samson heaved, and the great pillars shattered. The temple collapsed. The mighty stone structure came down with a deafening roar, crushing rulers, soldiers, and commoners alike. Dust and rubble filled the air, and in the chaos, the Philistines perished under the weight of their own temple. And there, beneath the ruins, lay Samson. He had avenged himself against his enemies, and in his death, he slew more Philistines than he had in his lifetime. When the dust settled, the Israelites came and retrieved his body. They carried him back to his homeland and buried him in the tomb of his father, Manoah. Thus ended the life of Samson, the mighty judge of Israel, who fell, but in his final hour found redemption. Samson's life was one of great triumphs and deep failures, a tale of strength, weakness, and ultimately, redemption. He was chosen before birth, set apart by God to deliver Israel from the Philistines, yet his journey was marked by impulsive desires, pride, and disobedience. Despite his flaws, God's purpose for him never changed. His strength was not merely in his muscles, but in the Spirit of the Lord that came upon him. However, when he strayed from God's path, he lost everything: his power, his sight, and his freedom. Yet in his darkest moment, when all seemed lost, he turned back to God in humility. Samson's final act was both a victory and a sacrifice. Though he perished under the ruins of the Philistine temple, his death dealt a crushing blow to Israel's oppressors. In that moment, he fulfilled his destiny, proving that even the fallen can rise again when they place their trust in God. His story serves as a reminder that human strength alone is never enough. True power comes from God, and even in our weakest moments, when we call upon Him, He is able to restore and use us for His divine purpose. Thus, the tale of Samson is not just one of physical might, but of the strength that comes from faith, repentance, and the grace of God. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring biblical stories. Turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Stay blessed and see you in the next video. God bless you. Amen.